Welcome to This Explainer, future marketers. Today, we're going to completely unpack the psychological mechanics behind the world's biggest brands, and then we're going to show you how to apply those exact same tools to your own career. Because think about it, the exact same cognitive biases that convince someone to buy a pair of sneakers can absolutely be used to convince a hiring manager to hire you. So whether you're studying business psychology right now or you're gearing up for your very first major corporate interview, mastering these concepts is going to give you a massive edge. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the psychology of consumer choice and cognitive biases, move into the boardroom to look at personalization at scale, dive into the privacy paradox, and finally, show you how to build your own personal brand. Okay, section 1, the psychology of consumer choice. To really grasp how modern marketing works, we first have to understand the fundamental mechanics of the human brain. As you enter the market, you constantly need to be asking yourself, what is the actual psychological driver behind a consumer clicking purchase? I mean, we love to think of ourselves as highly rational creatures making these carefully calculated choices. But look, if you have ever bought something you absolutely didn't need at 2 in the morning, and we all have, the reality of human psychology tells a very different story. The answer really lies in Daniel Kahneman's concept of System 1 versus System 2 thinking. So System 2 is that slow, heavy-lifting, analytical brain we use when we're meticulously reading product reviews or comparing prices. But System 1, that is fast, automatic, and highly emotional. And here's why this is absolutely crucial for you to know. Human beings are biologically wired to conserve cognitive energy. Because System 2 requires so much effort, we naturally default to the autopilot of System 1 whenever we possibly can. The most effective marketing strategies out there almost entirely target that fast, intuitive System 1 brain, simply because it completely bypasses friction. Moving right along to Section 2, Cognitive Biases in Marketing. Let's look at the specific shortcuts our System 1 brain takes when navigating the market. First up is anchoring bias. The wild thing here is that humans are actually terrible at judging absolute value. We can really only judge relative value. Retail pricing strategies use this anchoring effect to make a 49-pound item feel like this massive can't-miss bargain, all because your brain is totally stuck on that initial 99-pound figure. Your brain doesn't actually know what a sweater should cost in a vacuum, so that very first piece of information completely frames your perception of value without you even realizing it's happening. It essentially provides the contrast System 1 needs to definitively declare a win. Next, we have the scarcity effect. Think about that physiological response, that slight spike in your heart rate when a booking website warns you only 2 rooms left. It triggers a deep psychological urgency to act immediately before losing out. It's not just a clever marketing nudge, it is literally a biological fear of missing out. It leverages loss aversion to artificially inflate the perceived value of the room just by making it feel incredibly rare. Then there is social proof. When you see 10,000 people bought this on an Amazon review, that is social proof, effectively nudging your System 1 brain to just follow the crowd. Think of it as the ultimate cognitive energy saver. We are effectively outsourcing our System 2 analytical thinking to the broader crowd. Your brain just assumes, hey, if 10,000 other people are doing it, it must be the right choice, which completely bypasses your need to do any heavy research. Now, what is truly fascinating is how all these biases, scarcity, anchoring, loss aversion, social proof, they all culminate in the irresistible gravitational pull of a simple buy now button. It is the ultimate trap for System 1 impulse decisions. It's perfectly positioned at the exact moment of highest emotional momentum to convert a psychological vulnerability into a concrete sale. So, let's pivot from the academic classroom to the boardroom. We're going to look at how billion-dollar tech giants take these exact fundamental human vulnerabilities and apply them at a massive scale to generate immense revenue. Which brings us to Section 3, the power of personalization. Mass marketing is officially dead. Hyper-personalization driven by real-time behavioral data is the standard now. Think about when you log into Netflix and see rows of shows picked just for you, or when you load up your Spotify Discover Weekly playlist on a Monday morning. You are experiencing algorithmic personalization. These platforms track every single thing you watch, what you skip, when you binge, to build a robust behavioral profile. They are essentially creating a digital twin of your System 1 desires just to keep you absolutely hooked. And look, they aren't just guessing here. They are actively utilizing academic frameworks. For instance, they use cognitive load theory to filter thousands of movies down to a single top pick, making sure you don't succumb to decision paralysis. They leverage self-determination theory to fulfill your psychological need to feel completely understood by the brand. They even tap into the endowment effect, which makes a personalized playlist feel like it truly belongs to you, dramatically increasing its perceived value in your mind. The business result of this psychological targeting? Well, it's undeniable. Netflix sees a massive 60% increase in engagement strictly due to personalized content recommendations. This is not just some cute user interface gimmick. It is a hardcore psychological strategy that fundamentally alters the bottom line. Section 4. The privacy paradox. However, this data-driven utopia has a pretty significant catch that you, as future business leaders, are going to have to navigate very carefully. This exposes a massive tension in the modern market. We absolutely crave the convenience of personalized experiences, but we are absolutely terrified of the surveillance required to actually create them. As these numbers clearly demonstrate, trust is essential, but people are deeply uneasy about just handing over their personal information to corporations. Because if you over-personalize, you trigger psychological resistance. You make the consumer feel monitored rather than understood, which destroys brand trust entirely. We've all experienced that moment, right? You're talking about a product out loud to a friend, and then 10 minutes later you see an ad for it on your phone. That crosses over into what the industry literally calls the creepiness factor. When targeting becomes that opaque, the loss of long-term trust will always outweigh any short-term spike in engagement. And now for Section 5, building your personal brand. Here is where we make our big pivot. Massive corporate brands use these exact principles to sell products, but you need to use them to sell yourself as you enter a highly competitive job market. Just as an Amazon shopper uses intuitive, fast thinking to judge a product page, a hiring manager uses System 1 thinking to judge your resume and your digital footprint in a matter of seconds. Let me be clear. They are not using their slow, analytical System 2 brain on a first pass. They are skimming. They are looking for anchors, like the name of your university, and social proof, like recognizable past internships, to quickly determine if you are the right fit. You are the product. So here is your actionable 5-step guide to constructing your personal brand so it actually cuts through the cognitive load of a crowded market. Step 1 is self-awareness. You have to deeply understand your core strengths. Step 2, define your message and decide exactly what you want to be known for. Step 3, align your behavior so your actions actually match that stated message. Step 4, communicate that identity consistently across every single platform so a recruiter's System 1 brain instantly recognizes your value. And Step 5, continually review and adjust to stay relevant. But listen, you must remain authentic. If you fake your brand, you will inevitably create cognitive dissonance. Let's make this really practical. If your LinkedIn profile screams that you are this innovative, high-energy leader, but your actual interview presence is passive and unprepared, you trigger immense cognitive dissonance in the recruiter's brain. Just like a consumer abandoning an inauthentic company, that psychological friction is going to cost you opportunities. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to ask yourself, if your personal brand is a choice architecture, what nudges are you sending to the world? Are the signals you're putting out there nudging future employers toward a buy now decision? Or are you just getting lost in the noise? Take control of your data, manage your psychological messaging, and start treating your career with the exact same strategic rigor as the world's most successful brands.